Two ground rules which we have to follow in this auditorium. Those are, please put your phones in silent mode and avoid stepping in and out during the conversation. Avoid bringing refreshments inside the auditorium. No crosstalk during the meeting. And now coming to the meeting, I want to express my gratitude to Startup Saturdays organizers and partners for planning these events for the benefit of young entrepreneurs. The main goal of Startup Saturdays is to motivate, inspire, and assist founders with insightful comments and helpful advices. Investment support from investors is welcome. The meeting will not only guide us but also educate us on a wide range of topics. Now, let's start our first session with Mr. Rohit from DeepThought. I'll give a brief introduction about DeepThought. DeepThought is a people tech startup whose vision is to create innovation leaders from startups across India. DeepThought acts as a business HR that understands startups' business objectives and feeds that right team and take responsibilities for the team. This allows the startup senior management to focus on the revenue generation. Yes, now I over the stage. I ask Mr. to take over.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rohit, and I'm a technical product manager at DeepThought. So today, I'd like to talk about why DeepThought exists, what it does, and for whom. So I'd like to talk about the vision of DeepThought first. So our vision is to create innovation leaders for the world. And to help you see our vision, I'd like to narrate a short story. Now, imagine that you are the founder of a startup that is developing mobile games. All right. Now, you hire developers and product managers not just because they could create another game that exists in the market, but to create a game that has never been seen before, yet gives a great entertaining experience. That is your why. Now, you have all your processes and systems laid down to nurture these new hires so that they can figure out the what and the how given the why. But it turns out that they just have lots of difficulties aligning to your vision. As a result, they are not self managing, they become dependent. And what happens is that every now and then you would have to come down and align them on the why. This puts a lot of burden on you as a founder. All right. And you will realize that a desired output is not arrived at this, without putting in lots of time and resources. That is poor productivity. And think about it, you are paying their salary, so you're burning. So these are some of the problem statements that we have studied while interacting with startup founders across India at Bangalore Tech Sparks and Bangalore Tech Summit. And now the question comes up, what could be the solution? At DeepThought, we have come up with a solution that not only works for us, but it's also working for the 5 clients that we have as of today. So we come in as your business HR. And what we do is we bring in the right team and take responsibility of them. And now what do I mean by the right team? So using our own processes and systems, what we would do is we would help them align to your vision and values so that they can execute your processes and systems effectively. And now your processes and systems are what help you make the greatest games out there. and ultimately generates revenue. So you can think of us as your partners who are taking care of all the people risks while you can focus on revenue generation. And we also make sure we are always invested in keeping that seed productive. All right. And now, how do we do that? So we have built a highly scalable SaaS in-house. All right. And as you can see from one of the case studies, we have processed thousands of applicants, and that was done by only 2 people. And we are continuing to engage about 100 people within the house, and that's also done by just 2 people. Now, let's talk business. Now, every client, for every intern per month, we charge a 5,000 rupees DP fee. And what is this DP fee? This fee is for us to engage and retain your employees. And 4,000 goes into the student's stipend. You can think of the student as a freelancer who's there with you for 6 months while we are taking responsibility of them. All right. And post 6 months, our platform is available to client roles and lakh ARR as of today. Now, at DeepThought, we believe that the 21st century is all about intellectual property creation. All right. And we realize that one of the places where startups get stuck is in their product. And why is it that their product gets stuck? It's because people are not aligned with their vision and their objectives. As a result, they are unable to execute the startup's processes and systems. So, and we also realize that if you take a look at their balance sheet, the greatest expenditure is their salaries. So, what does DeepThought do? DeepThought takes care of your people investment so that they can create intellectual properties for you, and through the IP, you can generate revenue. And to do that, we are coming up with a software called the Peter Drucker Growth Management System. It is a holistic software that not only takes care of an employee's reasoning abilities, but it also takes care of an employee's mental health and while growing their business sense. As of today, we are looking forward to raising $1 million in annual revenue, and that is through around 1,500 live learners and a few hundred startups. And why we want to do this is that once we can get for these startups and learners, we believe that we can acquire the market a lot faster once people see the proof of concept. And we believe that once we have about 200 live learners, we would break even operationally. And some of our acquisition channels are we attend tech fests where we network with startup founders, and we also visit internship sites or we tie up with colleges to acquire students. Now let's zoom out a bit. There are about 10 million learners globally, and if you could give us $50 per month per employee, we think that there is up to $6 billion in annual revenue. And for a B2B SaaS, the multiplier is usually 10. So we can expect a market for about $60 billion. And we think that once we're able to tie up with thousands of startups, we would be able to deliver the proof of concept so that big firms would like to come and tie up with us. And we would like to say one thing to them. Pay us $50 per month per employee, and we would turn your employee into a situational leader in 2 months. What is the situational leader? Somebody who has the conviction to take initiatives and ownerships to grow your startup. And if that's not happening, there's no questions asked. You can have your money back. Now, how do we distinguish ourselves from the competitors out there, the EdTech and the L&D tech systems out there? What we do is in real time, and we not only take care of their reasoning abilities, but we also give them a very safe space for them to execute, for them to access their freedom. And how do we do that? We come up with reflection drills where we make people introspect on what they do. So, uh, and as you can see, one of my colleagues, Manish. So he's one of the examples that DT helps us learn and grow through reflection. Now, why would anybody want to go with us? All right. So prior to our pivot into people tech, we worked with school education, and we've been able to engage fourth graders to talk about philosophy. All right. And so we understand the grassroots learning. We understand reasoning from the first principles. And that's how we've been able to nurture students. And if you look at Shaban, he is currently our Assistant Vice President Technology. And we used the same processes and systems on him just a year ago. He joined us in October last year. And today he's an AVP Technology. And currently this is our team of investors, mentors, and full timers. And with that, I'd like to come to the main question: why would you want to fund us? And that's because we've been able to deliver long term value to our clients. All right, through the proof of concept, it was validated through it. And our clients continue to work with us because our SaaS is scalable. We think that our SaaS is scalable. And through our operational profit and focus, we believe that we would be able to sustain ourselves until we capture that $60 billion market. So, with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you.
Now it's time for the question and answer session. But a small request that please be mindful in asking questions and also giving them tips about the startup and all. So it's all over to you guys.
So there's a DT fee of 5,000 rupees per month. It's only for interns or for any employee?
For interns.
Alright. So and then that means 4,000 is going as a stipend and 1,000 rupees is going for the DT service.
Yes.
My question is, what is the cost that any startup currently bear so that they can do the same thing that DT is trying to do?
So, you're talking about, if I get your question right, am I audible? Yeah.
But in the online, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if I get your question right, you're talking about the cost that any other startup would bear on getting this done.
Yeah.
Right. So it turns out that while startups can do that, they are usually burdened enough to do it. They're unable to focus on revenue generation because they have to take care of the interns while making revenue. So that's something that's not feasible for them as of today. We are working with early stage startups that have figured out their processes and systems.
Is there any way you could quantify it by any chance you could try out that exploration?
Quantify, could you?
Quantify, let's say for example, I'm a founder early stage startup. I have to take care of all my employee HR in training, getting them in the same alignment as a vision, so on and so forth, right? So, so the way I could do it is I devote almost 40% of my time saying that okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, focusing on.
Mhm.
The other thing I could do is hire someone who can manage the entire job, maybe HR, time, maybe. So my comparison in the value proposition thing in my head is that as a startup founder, is it cheaper for me to hire my own team and do it, or is it cheaper for me to go with you guys? That's basically what I'm trying to understand.
That's a good question. I'd like to go and inquire and quantify that, but that's a good question. Thank you. Yeah.
So anyone have questions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now I'd like to welcome our speaker of the day, Naren Nerla, the board member of COO of Inspireedge, an IT solution company in Visakhapatnam. He is also co-founder Return Trucks, a new age transport ecosystem, innovations for building solutions in the IT infrastructure space. He has 20 years of techno management experience with startups responsible for building leadership and value creation for all the stakeholders. Naren is an investor and advisor of NeoAra, an Agri IoT startup, founder of Agri DNA Ventures, building a digital ecosystem for farmers, producers, companies, and founding team members, and a strategic advisor for Edge Finishing School. He is actively investing in the startup ecosystem for the past 3 years. Now I welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Oh, you're just about to say that. You're no energy today.
I know. It's Saturday afternoon. How many had biryani for lunch? So it would be a very interactive session. Excuse me for my bad code, but I make it more interactive. So, startup itself is very interactive and very inserted in a lot of ways. How many of you does trading, invest in various companies, stock markets? And so you guys probably know what kind of risk that we have, and the startup is probably 10x, 100x of that risk that you would have, right? Oh, no startup. But I didn't really list down all the steps. I'm sure you can Google it and get a lot of those steps. A lot of people give you that GAN and how to do a startup and then what makes you make a startup. But first of all, let's understand why do you want to do a startup? Maybe that's the startup idea somewhere. So, yeah. So should we really do a startup? So what makes any idea as a startup? Right? That's a fundamental question that all of us, figure out, right? A lot of people still think that no Uber or aggregation is still not a business cycle because they haven't really found the unit economics right. And some of them still think that's a disruption in the market, right? Then, but I'm sure all of us agree that idea is the most important thing in any startup. And then the second most important thing for any startup idea to nurture is the resilience. Resilience of the founder. Whoever is, putting that idea together, they need to have that resilience to travel through that idea for a certain period of time before either they make it successful or they move on to the next one. Right? And then idea. I know idea. I keep talking about this. All of us have ideas. Every day we walk out of our house, we see some problem. We think it's an idea for us to build a startup, right? And then we travel to our office, we meet our friends, go to a restaurant, wherever we find something uncomfortable, not efficient for us to manage, we think, that's an idea for us to really go and then do a startup. But is that really what? How do we validate, an idea? But before validating, no one know for sure that the startup idea works. We don't know. Right? If someone know there's a particular idea that will definitely work, I'm sure that's like a moonshot that's going to work, right? But unfortunately, that's not true. Now, what happens is some of us as founders, I'm sure we did the same mistake when we first started in 2008. Our first startup was a failure after 2 years. We will only realize that now we went with an idea without really doing a validation just because we love that idea so much. It puts yourself so close to that. You will not look at a lot of other validation. You still argue with a lot of people that so this is an idea that will work. So let's look at some of the criteria that we use to validate ideas. What makes our idea very unique? Is it something that drastically changes the way we do things? Do you have any examples of an idea that you can think of the history to deliver? Yeah, right. Telecom, mobile phones, very true. Anything else? E-commerce. Yeah, something that we didn't have that in the past, and that changed dramatically the way we do things. But did we manage doing all those things without that? Definitely yes. So we were still eating food. We were still taking the taxi before Uber and Ola came in. But it's just that someone ideated and then created an extra comfort for all of us. So that idea, is that still a viable idea? Sure, for some of them, for some of the unit economics that friend sitting here, probably you can deep dive more than here sometime. So by the way, now we have Sandeep who heads Swiggy India operations. So he's also visiting us today. Thank you, Sandeep. I know we take a lot of Swiggy examples here for sure.
Our pleasure.
And then, but how do we know that right? Sure, when we start ideating, we figure out that this is the way. But what makes any of our ideas next big thing? So this idea needs to be immediately, required for someone. We need that right now, and we need that every day, or probably every minute, right? And then we need that for a lot of people, not just for us. At least for millions and billions of people need that kind of requirement, right? And then they should be paying us. Sure, your actual struggle starts. Now you probably cleared one criteria for you to validate and then go to the next level. So there is this formula from Stanford. I forgot the name of the guy who created this. P equal to MAT. Behavior equal to motivation, ability, and then trigger. Right?
Charles died.
Probably. Yeah. So, so the say is, as a founder, we should have that motivation to really pick up that idea, start working on that problem statement, and then our ability is our startup. Our startup should be able to find a solution for that, and then the trigger is nothing but you will have customers coming into you, right? It's not that now customers will forget this idea, and then somewhere the customer should keep reminding themselves that no, this is the solution that I have to go and then use it for my problem. So for that, either you reach out to the customers, or if the problem is an awesome problem, they will reach out. That kind of trigger is very, very important for you to change the behavior of a consumer, and then they start working with you on this solution or using your solution. So that makes a really big thing for any startup idea. And but where do we find these ideas? I'm sure, like I said, we will find a lot of these ideas. How do we at least channelize them? can we try some responsible ideas, right? No, it's no, we can't do another Uber. Someone already did that. We can't do a Swiggy. Someone did that, and we can't do Amazons and Flipkart. Someone already did that. Of course, we can still do that. We'll talk about some of those examples of how someone replicated the success in the same industry. But what kind of responsible ideas we can think of, right? Some of you probably know this. I think well, probably you know very well because we represent those community. Sustainable development goals. As an investor, I think that's one criteria that I always see. What kind of sustainable development goals this startup is pursuing? Is that really worth investing for the future? If you look at anyone, I'm sure some of you know sustainable development goals, but how do we really put this idea to one of these 17 different goals? Right? Some of your startups probably already get into this. If not, if your idea is getting into one of these, that's amazing. I'll give you an example of how we started this company called Vision Trucks. Initially, when we started, we were in those days of Uber. Right? Everyone was excited about Uber, really want to do Uber and workers. Very simple, right? Someone needs a truck, they just need to go to a website or a mobile app, just book a truck. It's no brainer. It could work. But then when we started looking at that, who will pay? Ideally, the customer should pay whoever books the truck. But in the transport industry, customers don't pay on time. So they have their own luxury of 90 days, 120 days of paying truck loans. That's the model that's currently working. We have to disrupt that. We need a lot of funding to disrupt, like how other big players are disrupted. Then we realized it requires a lot of fund and a couple of investment opportunities that we got initially. Because, like I said, we want to do Uber. We didn't want to go anything short of Uber Managed. Obviously, we didn't take that, and then we came down to practical situation where we've been burning a good amount of money every month. That's when we started pivoting this. How do we survive? So, what kind of market we are in? How do we start using some of these solutions we built for end consumers? Can we pivot them into some solutions for B2B? That's when you sometimes you get lucky. So we found a customer who exactly needed something like that. That's when Shipment X was born. So out of all the work that we did for 4 or 5 years, I'm sure Pargo was one of consultants for us to figure out how do we pivot this and then rebrand ourselves. And that's how Shipment X was born. And then we got a new, obviously a business model that's working right now, making now profits. We are close to $1 million revenue there. But unless the founder has that resilience, so one of the co-founder that I have, unless he had that resilience to stay there and then pivot it and then continue, I don't think we would have survived on this. So that's one good example of how the initial idea, you think will work, not work always, and how you need to be flexible and then show that resilience to pivot yourself to another closest possible. And then mistakes. Big ones, right? I kept it as a very small. Like a lot of us, sometimes we don't know why we want to do a startup. At least right now. We want to do a startup just because our friends are doing the startup. We want to do it because someone in our relatives wants to do it. They are doing a startup, so we also want to do a startup. Never do that. And then we were part of YC school, the Y Combinator school, as part of Vision Trucks. And one of the problems they talk about is especially when it comes to solution. Because now you validated the idea, now you're focusing on solution. One thing they always tell you is never start with the solution. Okay, I'll give you an example. Just because there's a blockchain, don't start saying, I'll build a blockchain startup. Don't start with saying I will build an IoT startup. Your core focus will be still on the idea. For that idea, technology comes only at the end. So I'm sure a lot of founders will pick different technologies, but the goal is to solve that idea. So always, the lot of founders that we see, you know, we listen to 4 or 5 pitches almost every day. A lot of them says, I am an IoT startup, I'm an AI startup. They'll not tell you what is that they're trying to solve. Okay, that's that. Why is he call that as solution searches for problem? So I have a solution. Now I'll try go back and then figure out what kind of problem that I can solve it. That your startup is an IoT startup. Tell what are the problems that you are solving. That's more important. And then we all wait for the perfect problem to happen. It will never happen in a real world, right? So you start with a problem statement. You over a period of time, you probably nurture that and then make a better problem statement. And if required, you pivot it. Right? Pivoting a solution, pivoting a problem statement, the startup very very necessary and important. And then so you have a idea, you have solution, but some of the insight, probably these are some tips. Says founders, all of us, unless we have the expertise, right? We have a problem statement, but we probably are not from that industry, right? It's not easy for us to do that start. So it's called founder market fit. So I can't imagine um, near my batchmates going and doing a space tech startup. Right? I can't do a space tech. So if I have an idea, but I don't know what kind of technology that they need to do on a space tech, I cannot do a space tech, even though it's a perfect idea. So one of the founders at least, you need to make sure that you have that deep knowledge in that space. That's when your solution, your startup will be more stable. And then market. I know we spoke about that when we were talking about the big idea. At least this market should grow 20% year. If it is not growing 20%, that's not the idea that you want to invest. And then if you are already in the market, that lot of other companies, right? Can you name any industry where there's a new startup that made a lot of noise, made a lot of growth? Any example? It's not a unique idea statement, but still someone else entered and made a huge market. So it's not. I don't think that I call it a startup.
Housing.com.
By this, okay. Zoho, yeah, Zoho is one example. Definitely. And we will come to that, especially from the product side. You should be 10x better than your competitors because you're competing with some of the big guys in the right. Or the last one here is our cost, customer acquisition cost. Right? If you have to spend a considerable amount of money, a lot of money to acquire a customer, again, that's not the market that you want to invest. Right? So the customer should see this as a huge opportunity for them, a huge benefit for them, and then start using your product. But if you have to explain them, if you have to disrupt the market, in a huge way, that's a very high risk of the product that we're talking about. Most of the consumer startups, because that's the market that you can invest, right? So especially on the consumer market side, you have $1 billion opportunity. A lot of consumer tech has $1 billion opportunity, and the market size is very high. That's when you will always struggle in getting the customer acquisition cost low because these customers are already in any other platform, and then unless you invest a lot of money, they will not come to you. Right, let's look at some examples. Right, like you mentioned, Zoho. Keka. How many of you know Keka? Keka is yeah, it's a Hyderabad-based HRS. their platform. They raised one of the largest first rounds last month, and when we see data as an industry, it's like a HRMS platform, and I'm sure a lot of us, when we start reviewing startups, we would have just ridiculed this idea, saying, "No, not anymore. We don't want to see one more startup doing a HR solution because there are a lot of guys doing for free. A lot of companies offer this is a very very minimal. A lot of other startups tried this, and the way they got built, the same market, any other CRM, but they found a market within the same industry, and then they've been growing multiple growth. Especially now, they recently got the 1 billion market. Same with Freshdesk. It's the first unicorn to get into Nasdaq, and these are all the startups that operate in the same space that a lot of other players operating. A lot of big guys can operate, but one thing that differentiates them from the others is within the huge market, they found a niche market and they found something unique for them to offer in terms of implementation, in terms of customization, in terms of probably focused on smaller and SME markets. So that's another way of doing this now. And this is what we're doing personally. So we've been investing in a lot of startups, especially on the agri tech, and central government has this policy called farmer producer companies, and then we built a startup in a way called Sesta Farms, and lot of tech that we have in agri, and all of them need some form of implementation partner. So Sesta Farms in a way became the implementation partner for most of the companies that we associate with. So we invest. I'm one of the founding members of Blue Number, and then Neoara, we just spoke about, agri tech, and then aerospace will help us on the drones, and especially Blue Number. It was founded by ex-United Nations Director for Food and Safety. So he helped us focus on digital literacy for our farmers. And Blend Hub is another company, European company, that's blending a lot of new recipes for us from our farmer groups. This is all another way of doing a startup where you don't own any technology, but you can partner because the future of I think building a business is more collaborative partner. You don't want to build the technology someone else built, but you still can build a business model and then make money for that startup by collaborating with a lot of tech partners. That's what I wanted to conclude. And some of the startups again that we invested or we closely follow. Blue Number, we just spoke about that. It's a digital identity for a farmer across the globe. It's like a unique ID across the globe, like Aadhaar for us. And Blue Energy, the fuel cell based power generation company, closely associated. We missed investing. We had an opportunity, but we couldn't invest. But it's amazing technology. Without fuel combustion, they make electricity. And Agnicool is 3D printed cryogenic engines, space tech, and we are initial investors. E-plane, the E-plane company, their goal is to fly people from home to airport in a pod. So this is currently incubated in IIT Chennai. So we are again one of the initial investors. Some of you probably know Native Arku Coffee. Ram is the founder. We partner with them. Greenpod Labs is another company that we couldn't invest, but we are closely following them. These guys focus on reducing improving the shelf life of farmer produce. So this is again based in Chennai. These guys got a lot of grants already in different universities, so they don't need money, which is good thing for them. As investors, we missed an opportunity to invest. Neora, we spoke about Neora. Neora is a farming automation company trying to automate farming practices in aquaculture, and then expanding into agri. These are some when we heard about these ideas. I'm sure some of them fit into the criteria that we focused on, and because they all have the market opportunity, they all have at least 1 million customers needed something like that, except for these two, E-Plane and Agnicool. Agnicool is a space that who is a customer to that, right? Not many customers, basically. That is a result of a law change that allowed the third party, private customers, private players to get into the space. That's an amazing thing. I think the Sky Route is another one from Hyderabad doing similar. So these are 3D printed guys. Like I said, many of the best ideas that we have printed were not the ones that we were actually waiting. They were like surprising. We never expected that something like E-planes will start thinking about flying us from home to airports. Right? I don't know if I would have ever thought about doing something like that. These are, in a startup world, people call it moonshots. Right? High risk, but high visibility. But we don't need to look at that as a criteria always. We don't need to worry about it. You don't need to have a life changing idea if you have to do a start. When we saw Zopos, we saw Keka, we saw Freshdesk. They were the companies from the existing. They were not focusing on something very unique like this one. So it's idea, validation, and then solution, and also how, as a founder, how resilient we are, and then focus on how to implement us, to the market. That's more crucial for us after idea and then solution. We have no idea. We don't have resilience. That's fine. You can still do a startup. How? My last slide. Exactly. That's what we were doing. In fact, we don't have an idea. We don't have the resilience. Find someone who has that idea and resilience, and become a co-founder. Right. And in fact, to be honest, that's what we did in a lot of other startup ideas that we invested. Great, great communities that we tracked. Learned a lot over the last 3, 4 years when we started listening to these guys. Some of them we couldn't invest because we don't have that kind of ticket size. But amazing startups that the current generation is building. And this is a good first step for all of you. If you are students who are trying to figure out how do we validate the idea, please. And in case you guys need any help, mentoring guidance, this startup forum, the great guys.
Anybody in the audience have questions? You can post them.
It's what yeah. Increase the self right? Generally for they are very students, products. Sorry? Oh yeah, they have a website. They actually started doing the first phase.
Have questions?
All right. Thank you guys.
It's now time for a networking break. Refreshments are available outside. Please be banners and please don't bring those refreshments inside the auditorium. And we have placed dustbins all over outside, so please. Thank you. And now we'll capture this happy moment, this interactive session. We'll capture this in our picture, and then we'll start the next session. Please, everybody, forward. Yes, for a picture, for a group picture. Please arrange yourselves fastly.
అవునా ఓకే మీరు అవడానికి
స్మైల్ అనుకోదాము చాలా కిందగా చూస్తాను పడతా పడదా ముందు పడతా పడతావా
అందుకని ముందే పెట్టాను నా ఇప్పుడు అడుగుతాను
బిఫోర్ అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్
స్మైల్ థ్యాంక్ యూ అయిపోయింది ఫోటోషాప్ ఫోటోషాప్
ఇండియా క్లిక్ చేయరా అన్ను
Thank you, everybody. Now I welcome Mr. Ravi Eswarapu, the CEO of AU Incubation, to take the lead.
Yeah, okay, yes, thanks. Okay, very good evening. Thank you, sir. I just would introduce two people, distinguished people here. Today, the Startup Saturday, first and that's Saturday, like-minded people, entrepreneurs want to be entrepreneurs, come here, we can then discuss and share things that still not going, but it's not better, okay, I think it's good. So, it's usually one person coming and talking, sharing his experiences, that's a long driven one, and then followed by two pitches by startups talking about how they built till what they are today. Then we have an open mic session where people come and share their ideas which they're likely to get because want to be entrepreneurs. We help by assigning some people, mentors, we assign students who want to work with. That's the intention. Or we go to the larger ecosystem. So today we have two people. One is Manomay Rai. He's the CEO for what we are already been eagerly looking for, which is the Vizag International Airport, GMR Vizag International Airport. Then we have Sir here, Sir SGK Kishore, IAS, who has a very illustrious career, alumni of Andhrauniversity Electronics and Communications, and then IT Bombay. So we're very happy to see 10 on 10 CGPA gold medalist from IIT Bombay out here, and then working his way through the being a civil servant, worked in Kerala for most of the time, then in AP,
was the VC for Vuda and then worked with other organizations. Last was with, I think, Food Corporation. And then I think this is the second person where I've come in close quarters. One was Mr. Vinit Nair, who was an IS officer turned and what do you say, corporate person. So this is the second one, sir, in close proximity. I would like you to share your few thoughts. Welcome to our Startup Saturdays. I think they would really add to what we are trying to do. And currently, sir heads, he's the Chief Innovation Officer for the GMR Group. He's also the Executive Director for the South in the GMR Group. So all innovation that happens across the GMR Group is under his leadership. So we would love to hear from you, sir.
Sir Ravi Garu, as a young entrepreneur. This was not planned, so I just wanted to see this Andhra University. Sir was kind enough to make me Startup Saturday event with startups. And I'm really happy because generally the culture of startups and all has picked up over the last few years. And it is limited to the metros like Hyderabad, Bangalore, being in Vizag, to my home place. This is where I was born. And host had mentioned I'm an alumni of andhrauniversity. See this young talent aspiring to be entrepreneurs, having their own startups or industry rather than looking for jobs. I think that's a good, what I should say, change in the approach of how we should look forward for building your career. So gone are those days where people were thinking of graduating from some course, looking for government job. If you see 30, 40 years back, it was all government job. Then after 2000, I think when the digital revolution started happening, it was all IT jobs, corporate jobs. Now it's all about why should I work for someone? I will create livelihoods. That is what is the whole philosophy of things. That is one way of looking at this startup wave and startup. The other thing is basically when you look into those things. Over the years, entrepreneurs were there. They were creating new businesses, new entrepreneur entities. But what is different with this wave is basically the ability to think different, identifying those areas which will create a difference. Whenever you talk to startup leaders, when you interact with accelerators and all, they all say start with a problem statement. That is what I have seen in the last few years. Whenever we were talking, so many people are saying, "Sir, we come to a problem statement." This problem statement is basically to identify those gaps which will improve performance of businesses, which will improve the efficiency of the business, which will give a better experience to the end user. That is what is all currently the approach is. And that is where the digital technologies and other new technologies are becoming levers. But the whole thing is, how do you start looking at things? It's a culture. So what, like in GMR, last few years, we have been really thinking what is meant by corporate innovation. So I had so many interactions with professors from IITs, ISBs, and all. First of all, the main problem was what is the definition of innovation, right? There is no fixed definition. Whatever you think differently, whatever you do fast, agility, flexibility, the way you create solutions, which is not the run of the mill thing, it is innovation. It is not about technology. So finally, what I have realized is it is the way you start looking at things. So it is a cultural aspect. Innovation is in individuals, in organizations. How do you start doing things differently? And today, if you see big groups like GMR, and also we have Tata, other digital companies, they are focusing on innovation. Why? Because they want that the organization should behave as if they are very young. See what happens when you start a startup, you have all freedom, you take quick decisions, you raise funds, you fail, you succeed, you create value, sometimes you lose, erode value. All those things happen very fast. But as the organizations grow big, we focus on governance, procedures, right? Decision making. So bureaucracy keeps getting into larger aspects, right? And once bureaucracy and procedural aspects take primacy, the ability to take decisions, the ability to adjust to the external environment, which is very, very volatile and dynamic, you lose that. And when organizations lose that attributes of being agile, flexible, and all, the organization, right? So the whole current issue is how big organizations can behave like smaller stuff. You are big, you give importance to governance, you give importance to procedures. There are hierarchical, so many people who will be contributing to decision making and all those things, but at the same time, can they behave like a startup? That is what is the whole corporate innovation program is. How each and every individual in an organization can behave like an entrepreneur rather than just escalating the problems to the higher ups and asking someone else to take decisions or to come up with whether each and every individual can they behave as if they are the entrepreneurs and whatever issues, whatever opportunities, whatever challenges they are seeing in their day-to-day work, can they also come out with. So that is where corporate programs now get some new term called intrapreneurship. Entrepreneurship is an individual creates his what I should say savvy about creating businesses and all those things. Need a lot of coaching studies to start up startups are given here. But even though you're a salaried employee of an organization, can you become it? Now, lots and lots of organizations are creating internal structures wherein they're encouraging entrepreneurs. They're asking their employees who are at the grassroots level, when they come out with some ideas, give them that opportunity to develop that idea within the system and also getting some linkages from the external. Give them a sabbatical, allow them to incubate a new product, do a use case, do a pilot, and see whether they can create new products, new solutions. So this is now it's becoming like a revolution. So both outside the organization and inside the organization, a lot of change coming in. And for this to be successful, it is important that we keep track of what is happening around. Because the digital technologies are changing day in, day out. There are alternate non-digital technologies as well. Today, if you see, most of the organizations are looking for sustainability, reducing carbon footprint, becoming net zero, becoming green. There is a lot of focus on that. So huge opportunities of coming out with intervention, coming out with solutions, data analytics, the huge amounts of memory what is available. Previously, number crunching, storing data was a big issue. Like when I passed out my MTech in computer science from IIT Bombay, it's all like that time we used to have Dectons and the wax and digital wax system and all those things. Their memory is very little. So there we used to use statistics, sampling, random surveys and all. Now big data because there is no constraint on storage. So the entire heuristics, algorithms of analysis has changed totally. So how do you look into big data analytics? How do you be ahead of what the user requires? How do you surprise them with a wow experience? So that is where the trends of artificial intelligence, machine learning have started. Because once there is no constraints in data, now how a human brain thinks whether the algorithms can do the same thing and become more and more user friendly, creating value to the entire. So big data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are the things which are becoming like a common platform, right? Artificial intelligence is no longer a separate, what I should say, a separate subject or a separate field of technology. It is inbuilt in each and every product, every solution, right from your browsers till your shopping portals. Everywhere, whatever you see, AI is built. So with this sort of the big issue, convincing banks to financial institutions and funds, that too for entrepreneurs who don't have any track record. Like most of you may have ideas, may know how to do it, but if funds are a constraint, then that will be a big roadblock. But now what is happening is raising funds is no longer an issue. So many people are willing to risk their funds, provided they find a good startup entrepreneur who is dedicated, committed. They are looking into that. So fundraising is not an issue. Now, new models of fundraising, like crowd funding, right? If you see platforms like Tyke and all, right? Absolutely raising a crore, 2 crore, 3 crore is not an issue. People are joining 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, they are investing. So today, the point at which where we are in means all the boundary conditions are positive, right? No cloud, no rain, good batting pitch, right? Sunny. So you need a batsman who can hit. So those are the entrepreneurs of the batsman. So there are no restrictions. The ball is not spinning, not humid, right? You don't see a fast bowler like erstwhile West Indies people. So today funds are not a problem. Technology is not a problem. Lots of ideas are floating. There are lots and lots of incubators, accelerators that come in who are trying to mentor and handhold the entrepreneurs to deliver. Right? Recently, I was in Silicon Valley. Yes, sir. There is a accelerator called Falconex. It is again done by our Telugu people. What they are doing is they are taking the startup people from India and they are taking to US and exposing them to US. So that they are thinking it is like a corporate social response. They are doing like they are nurturing entrepreneurship. They are taking it as a social responsibility sort of. It's no longer a commercial. But however, once they find good startup, they are also investing. So their value generation is also happening. But the main focus is how do we handhold good entrepreneurs which are having potential, entrepreneurs who are never say die approach, who are very, very enthusiastic, right? So this is one aspect. So you have all the enabling boundary conditions for building your own startup. The other thing is basically what when I saw the last 2 3 years, because when we wanted to start our own corporate innovation program, call it as I was trying to see why a corporate like GMR, for example, should have an innovation, right? They're not a tech company, right? But still, why should we have this platform of innovation? So what I saw is most of the people like you, they have enthusiasm, they have energy, they have dedication, they have ideas, they also have potential solutions. But you have to test them, right? Somewhere you have to test them. It may be there in your brain, but if you don't have access to demonstrate that your idea, your product, your solution can create value, then you will be failure, right? You may have good acting skills, you may have good diction and all those things, but if you're not getting an opportunity to act in a movie, what will happen? Right? That is what happens to children of film actors, no? Like Ram Charan, Mahesh Babu, they get access, but they have to prove. But many people are better than them, they are not getting access. So what we thought is in GMR Innovates, we will give access to all these potential startup entrepreneurs to demonstrate, give them opportunities to demonstrate their products, their solutions, their competence, their technology. So we will create something like a living lab where people, if we find good people, if they have some ideas, we'll give them problem statements. If they already have some solution users, they can do the use cases, pilots and all with us, right? And you also have an opportunity to interact with our business. Ultimately, your product you have to sell to some business, right? It is not for getting only IP or your satisfaction that I've created a solution. Someone has to buy, and someone they have to create. You have to get some value for it. So you will also be interacting with the businesses, people who are running the business, right? It could be airport operations, it could be logistics person, it could be a person who is developing a greenfield city, right? So here, what is happening is they are giving you a platform, an interface where you can interact with the end users. They will handhold you, they will guide you how to develop the product so that it is acceptable by the end user, right? And in the process, if we see value, we may also. So this is what we are trying to do. So our corporate innovation program is an open innovation platform where there is both internal to external and external to internal. It is free community. People within GMR will interact with startups. Startups can interact with GMR. We have relationships with academic and research. We have ties with IIT Hyderabad. We have relations with IIT. We have relations with ISP. So, Schulich Business School of Toronto. So, academic research, we have relations. DeepThought, which is one of the largest accelerators in this part of the world. So, this is a 360-degree sort of an approach what we where we foster, and the ultimate objective is, apart from developing the entrepreneurship, create new products, new solutions, will enhance user experience, which will create process efficiency and create value to, and ultimately sustainability of creating entrepreneurs so that the organization will be long lasting. Like today, our vision statement take humor. We want to create an everlasting organization which will create value to the. It is not about building airports, not about building roads. It is not about creating power plants or building smart cities. It's all about creating those perpetual organizations who, in turn, by their activities, create a value. Like today, if Manomay is creating Vizag, the whole objective, a difference to the Visagites or the people. Right? So we invest a lot of time into what we do is 60-70% of senior leaders. So for example, I am the executive director. Manomay, Hyderabad Airport CEO, the upcoming Nagpur Airport, all these people report to me. My job is to see I build the competence, talent, ability to lead businesses. So I have to create the talent. We spend a lot of time the human resource development. And when we develop these sort of leaders, we want leaders with this temper of innovation. Right? We don't want leaders who are very bureaucratic, rule book dekhega, ye nahi hoga, ye nahi hoga. That is what I used to do in IIS. Right? My first job is to say ye nahi hoga. Right? To meet any IIS officer, he will not say how it will happen. He will say it will not happen. Right? But then, if you want to be a different leader, very easy to say nahi hoga. But kaisa hoga? How it will happen? That is what we have to do. So that is what is the sort of leadership. Once we have that talent pipeline, GMR will be an everlasting organization. Right? Decades after decades, centuries of history. For us, the role model is the Tata, right? You know, salt to semiconductor, right? Yeah. How Tata's they started with them. And they molded themselves. New business opportunities, whether it is IT, whether it is aviation, semiconductor, whether it is B2 consumer goods, they are there. So that is what we want. So innovation culture is the one is very agile. Take note of what is happening, keep track of what is happening around you, seize opportunities, identify problems, identify the gaps. Can you create value? Being ahead of the race with an ultimate objective of creating value to users of your products and in turn to create value. So this is the philosophy of innovation. Very happy. Andhrauniversity was really not aware that Andhrauniversity program and came to know when I said, Manomay, let us go and pursue. I'm very happy that this part of the state, lot of initiatives are happening to identify talent. I just met someone talking about the talent available rural. Generally, when we talk about it, urban, so rural areas, urban areas, absolutely the divide between urban and rural should be obliterated, not be there. So, I once again thank Professor Garu for giving this opportunity. Not planned. I just came to not, not as surprise as well. Um, and see how others are smart and learn and improve it. All the best to you, whatever we can do as GMR Airports. So, and our chairman belongs to this place. I belong to this place. So we have some emotional affinity. It's always there. And I wish all of you that become successful entrepreneurs, you have your own startups, big league, make lots of money, and then thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think probably the myth that we always have, right? A civil servant, can he really talk the corporate language? I think that's something that really got this today. Yeah, I said that before this, I had sir, and no doctor, and no professor. I come from the corporate, I'm leaving the university. In fact, we are in a room which is also is part of the GMR sponsored stuff. Yes, so thank you for your continuous association. Wonderful speech. I think a big round of applause. Thank you, sir. We look forward to your continuous association, and I hope we will be able to continue to impress on you and then continue to work with you and take things forward. Thank you. I think I will hand it over back to Pujita. Thank you.
Yeah,
You no, I'm just again just a matter of acknowledgement to folks from ICICI. Thank you. A round of applause to them also. They are sponsoring this event for the next starting today for the next 24 events for 1 year. They are agreed to come ahead and sponsor it. Now they're going to be the sponsor. Thank you, sir. Thank you for getting it done for us. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Opening it up for Q&A. Anybody wants to ask? This is the right
Just a
time.
reminder, one question per person, please.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll take this opportunity because I'm in office. So my name is Gaurav. I'm co-founder of Green. We make building materials from crop residues and industrial byproducts. It's carbon negative, reduces the construction cost by 50%, and offers 3.5 times higher insulation. So I would love to do a pilot GMR group, and basically what I wanted. I think we'll be meeting soon in the office as well.
The world's first CP certified.
That's the second person.
When is the airport going to start?
Oh, everybody is waiting for the airport. When is the airport going to
Start
date?
When it is going to be ready, I can tell you.
Ready in 3 years from time we start. I'm very hopeful that early next financial year by April May we should be in a building. Not waiting for details of what we did and all.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the design classes, first they use the example of airports as a bad design because we always say that whoever is entering into the airport, make sure that we suspect them as probably a terrorist or maybe lack of better word I'm using that. So how do we make it a better experience for customers who are flying with GMR point of view? Is there anything that would make it easy for passengers to explain? Because biggest challenge right now is the security check, right?
In fact, security is a very essential thing in the airport. Anything happens in the airport, it also reflects on the capability of handling things, right? Because the airports are the face of the nation. Like you said, full in Hyderabad airport. Find a very vibrant airport and happy that the region is also very good. A dull airport reflects the civilization of that. Safety, security is very. What we have been doing is in the last 2 to 3 years, how without compromising on the safety security, without being intrusive. So can we have means of non-intrusive way of ensuring that safety and security is there, and at the same time, when I say non-intrusive, the passenger need not feel that he is being tracked or he is being scanned, right, physically. So that is what we have been doing. So if you see in like Manomay, last 1.5 years, we are working on a program called DGR, but I'm also the member of the national level. Using biometrics, especially facial recognition, how people can go through the entire process of the report coding or whatever. So right from the terminal entry, code your don't want to stop you and ask you for a document. So that is one thing. So using facial recognition, we are one platform which the civil aviation minister has formally launched it just in Delhi airport. In fact, the entire what I should say use case pilot was done in Hyderabad airport, wherein all your travel credentials reach the airport even before you start your journey. And then once you reach the airport, your face will be your passport available. That is one example where non. The other thing what at GMR Innovation we are now looking this crowd behavior analytics, right? It may not be safety security alone, but can wherever there are places where crowds are there, airport terminal is one such area. Stadium is a part of the process. How using non-intrusive techniques to identify a person who is suspicious, who is under stress. It may not be always a terrorist. Like in an airport, when you go, you are stressed out because you don't know what is the next step, where to go for boarding, where are the washrooms. If suppose someone is carrying a child, then look for some support. You have your own bags and all those things. So people are stressed out. Even being in the airport for the last decade or so, even when I travel, I have a lot of stress. So I always ensure that some people come, receive me, take me through and all those things. So what we are trying to do now is one of the big things is crowd behavior and think your cameras, feeds or some sensor feeds. Can you home on to people who are having suspicious body language? Using seeing their facial expression, seeing their body movement, seeing their movement patterns. Are they in stress? Suppose some lady is there with a small kid and she's struggling, right? If you can get an alert, and if an executive of the airport goes and asks, "Madam, do you need any help?" See the type of passenger, what is it? I'll not section, but they're feeling. Right? Without you asking for support, someone comes to you and says, "Do you need help?" Right? Entire thing will change. This is what we're trying to see. How using crowd behavior can be proactive. Right? When you go to a hotel, five-star hotel, right? When you are in the lobby, are you checking? Are you in the washroom? You feel comfortable. But can we do the same thing in areas where the density of people is much higher, right? So large number of people are there. Can you pinpoint that person who is having suspicious behavior? You can pinpoint that person who is looking for help and you provide. Like this suspicious person, the security will go and round him up straight away. No one knows what is happening. Right? So this is what another thing where we are working with few startups. One of the startups has worked in Dubai Expo. They're part of predictive analytics of that is one area. So any one of you are interested in think to have the wherewithal to work on. But non-intrusive, a lot of technology, lot of things. How people being
Anybody, one last question? Oh, yes, super.
What's the best way to
Sorry? Okay. This question is how can we reach out to excel the GMR group for any innovation to get
talk to your CEO Ravi Eswarapu, right? You know, or the other proposals. Okay, so no problem. Access it. And they're on LinkedIn. So many ways now. Today, getting detailed of a person is so difficult. Right? So today is my birthday. I've seen the greetings from so many strangers on LinkedIn. So I don't know how they came. So that's not an absolute any challenge. you have the will to get connected to a person, that is also enough. Right?
Oh, many happy
Happy birthday, sir.
Okay.
One big happy birthday from all.
Okay. That's in unison. Maybe you can start it off.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, sir.
You. Okay. Thank you, sir. And okay, we move on. Thank you.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's come back to our Startup Saturdays again. And now we have a student who is all hidden all these days, and he came up with an idea now from Andhra University School of International Business. Here is the Snehit. He's studying BBA second year now. I welcome him to exhibit his idea.
Very good afternoon to one and all. I'm Snaith. Can you hear me? Yeah. Uh, Let me tell you in the beginning itself that this is a very niche company, and for majority of the people in this room, it may not connect or resonate very well with them. By the way, first I would like to know about my audience. How many of you own cryptocurrencies? Please raise your hand. Don't worry, I'm not going to report it to the income tax department. Okay, great. So before I begin, I would like to start with an anecdote, a short story of why I'm starting this company in the first place and what's really propelling me in this direction. So when I was in my 8th standard, I heard about Bitcoin for the very first time through my social teacher. And back then I didn't understand anything, nor did my teacher. She told me that it's a way of uh, payment of money through the means of internet, and that is what I have thought. And some people even said that it's a scam, and it doesn't have any bright future, and that is what I have bought into. And for the next couple of years, I never heard about it again. And when I was in my 10th standard again, I came across Bitcoin white papers, the official document of uh, Bitcoin written by Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of the Bitcoin himself. And I have gone through it. I've understood Bitcoin in and out. And for the next 1 year, I got really proficient with the blockchain technology, the cryptography, and the POS, POW, and all the technologies that Bitcoin use. And when I was in my intermediate first year, I saw an opportunity. That is, Bitcoin is getting peddled for a lower price in the South Korean crypto exchange and for a higher price in the US exchange. So what I did was arbitrage transactions, which is basically basic economics, buy low and sell high. So I bought it on Upbit and sold it for a higher price in the Coinbase. And through this means, I have made 23,200 rupees. It may not seem like a biblical amount of money, but with the mere investment that I've put in, that is just 1,000 rupees, I've made some really impeccable amount of returns. So it really fascinated me. But these business opportunities wouldn't last for a very long time because more and more people would jump into it, and eventually that business opportunity would cease to exist. So that is what happened here. So I started to look out for more opportunities, and this time I found a little complex one, a triangle, and this time it's with Indian rupee. And you can see I bought USDT with first I bought USDT with US dollar, then sold it in Indian exchange for Indian rupee, and I made like 5% or 6% gain in every single transaction. And through this means to money, but eventually it stopped. The business opportunities stopped to got ceased to exist. So, uh, but I was fascinated with the money that I've made. So, what I've done is uh, I started to develop a crypto bot, and how it works is it basically predicts whether the price of the Bitcoin goes up or it comes down. So if it goes up, it takes a long position and it makes money. And if it goes down, it takes a short position and it makes money. And through this means, I have made some good amount of money. And at one point of time, I started calling myself an entrepreneur. And I thought that schooling is no longer necessary. I've even skipped many exams and uh, I've even failed many subjects back then. But on the bright side, I've been making some good amount of money, and I thought it exists. It's going to be forever. But as you can see here, uh, the Bitcoin was moving 10% per day back then. So that is the time I've made a lot of money. But eventually, it started getting stable and stable. Right here, it isn't moving much. Rather, it's moving in sideways. So when it goes up, it will make money. When it comes down, it will make money by taking a short position. But what if it goes sideways? Now that is what is happening here. So what happened was I started incurring losses. So I immediately terminated the bot and I started inspecting what's the reason, why is it making losses. Then I discovered that that is because of the hefty trading fee that these exchanges are charging middle. So I found a problem. So I started to look out for the solution if any other crypto exchange is offering a low trading fee uh, exchange, if there exists anyone. So unfortunately, there isn't anyone. So I thought to myself that why shouldn't I build one exchange myself? So I went on to an online forum and I started discussing about this with the other cryptocurrency traders too. And I started ranting about it. And apparently, many people were facing the same problem. There's a huge community of people who are into this. So, uh, and one day, one of the trader introduced me to Binance. How many of you know about Binance and how many of you own accounts there? Great. So why do you think Binance is so successful in the first place? Can anyone answer?
Low trading fee.
Yeah, that's the thing. Binance, the founder of Binance, he's the guy. His name is CZ. He understood that the low trading fee is the secret to this industry in order to crack and in order to dominate this industry. So he founded Binance in the year 2016, I guess. I'm not exactly sure about the year, but that was the secret sauce for his company to get successful. And and you can see his net worth being around $17.4 billion on the Forbes, but actually he's far more richer. And uh, you can see he even gave loan to Elon Musk while he acquired Twitter. Uh, the reason why he is most of his net worth is in the form of crypto, and of course he's very rich. And coming back to Zerodha, Zerodha does the same thing too. Why do you think Zerodha is so successful in India? Why is Zerodha the number one stock broker in India? That is because it's there in the name itself. That is zero. So zero trading fee plays a big and very vital role in this industry. So that is what even I wanted to build. Actually, it's not when you see Zerodha, it's not actually completely zero. It's actually a gimmick. When you see the brokerage is zero, but if you see there's TT charges, the exchange fee, the DP charges, GST, SEBI, stamp duty, it's going to cost a lot to get enter into a trade. Actually, there's no asset class in the world where you can absolutely enter into a trade for absolutely nothing. So we wanted to build that for the very first time. And this is the trading volume of Binance for the last 24 hours. It's $33 billion. So you can see there's a very big market. And recently, you might have even heard about FTX, uh, which basically collapsed because of some people manipulating it. Of course, the founder. So there's a need for transparency in this industry. There's a need for low trading fee in this industry, and there is a need for no spread in this industry, and that is what we wanted to build through this exchange. So I'm looking forward for debt-based financing. So if anyone is up for it, please let me know. Thank you and have a phenomenal day. So do you have any queries? Have a portal right now? No, I don't have anything. Okay, right. Yes, exactly. I want to build a company based upon this. Any other questions? Thank you.
And now we have another student. He is Mr. Sri Venkatesh from Adarsh Degree College, Pendulpi. Now we welcome him to share his ideas.
Yeah, a pleasant good evening to everyone. My name is Sri Venkatesh Yenmula. I am from Adarsh Degree College, Pendulpi. As of now, I am pursuing my graduation in BCom Computer Application. Have you ever have you ever anyone eventually listened the word helmet? What the helmet actually does? Can anyone answer it? Yeah. Okay. The word helmet is derived from the word helm, an English word, which is used to protect head covering. It actually protects our skull from any accidents. Mostly helmets are used for the recreational activities like sports as well. As we all know, in cricket, baseball, ice hockey, we use helmets, and also they are used by the military aviation, police forces, bike riders as well. We have some acts and articles relating to helmet in India. Actually, the Act of the Motor Vehicles Act of 1988 was established to maintain the legal safety of the motorbike community. So, the latest Motor Vehicles Act 2019 had included 63 new clauses in them. One of it was the safety regarding to the helmet. So, Section 129 of this Act says that every individual who is above the age of 4 must wear a helmet when he is riding a motorbike in the public places. As per this section 129A, that helmet must be made with a material that it should protect the rider from any accident. And section 129B mentions that it should contain two straps that are connected so that the helmet could not go away from the rider's head in case of any mishappening. And also, section 138 4F of Central Motor Vehicle Rules, it is also mandatory that any two-wheeler manufacturer must supply two BISF compliant headgears for driver and pillion rider at the time of vehicle purchase. Sorry to ask this question. Did anyone have lost your life in your family members due to lack of wearing helmet? Did any of your family members lost their lives due to lack of wearing helmet? Yeah. So the highest 4 people die every hour in India because they did not wear a helmet. A statement given by India News Today. The highest death toll was in Tamil Nadu. A total of 6,105 people, around 17% two-wheelers who died here in road accidents, did not wear a helmet. In 2017, more than 48,746 two-wheelers died in road mishaps accidentally. 73.8% of them did not wear a helmet. Bikers make up half of the state road crash victims. 83% of are helmetless. People just think the wearing helmet is a big task that eventually disturbs them from riding freely. But if we all see that the helmet would rescue us from any accident which would be happening while we are riding the motorbike, here I would like to share my idea which can reduce the deaths relating to the lack of helmet. My thesis on the automation of helmet project Swecha. My vision is to protect. Swecha solutions, a vision to protect. We all know that cars or other four wheelers have a safety measure of seat belt, which alerts the rider while he is starting the car. So eventually, we can also have the similar feature to the two wheelers as well. It ensures the security for two wheeler riders as well with the similar to facial recognition technology which is currently being used in the smart devices like Android phones. So, how it works? When the rider approaches near the two wheeler, by double tapping the speedometer, the screen will be displayed and it will ask for a security pin to unlock the scanner. After the scanning getting unlocked, it will display the scan ID option and emergency option on the screen. We should select the scan ID option. After selecting the scan ID option, we should put on the helmet in such a way that the scanner must have the clear vision of the helmet. We will provide a chip inside the helmet at the position where it is convenient for the scanner to scan it. After getting scanned, it will display ID match. If not, it will display please scan again. If the ID matches successfully, the helmet will be locked to the rider's head and the valve of the key insertion area will be opened to start the respective two-wheeler. If the ID fails to match, the valve will not be opened, which restricts the rider to start the respective two-wheeler without helmet. After reaching the destination, again you have to unlock the scanner with the pin, and when the screen is open, you have to select the unlock option, which unlocks the helmet. When the key is removed from the two-wheeler, then the valve will be closed automatically. This ensures a maximum level of security for two-wheeler riders and will let every two-wheeler rider to put on their helmet. Common questions and doubts I found on the way of my work. What if the rider does not put on the helmet? What if the rider forgets his pin? What if the rider lost his helmet or forgot it? What if the rider have an emergency? Here I come up with solutions. For the first one, if the rider does not put on the helmet, he will not able to start the two-wheeler as the key insertion area will not be opened without getting the ID match from the scanner at the initial stage of entering the security pin. After entering for the second one, after entering the incorrect pin for 3 times, it will ask to enter your date of birth and it accepts that as your security pin from that time. If you want to change your pin, you need to contact the customer care support center. Here we can follow the same process for 3 and 4 questions. That is as follows. However, in these two cases, we can enter our pin, but the only thing that is missing is our helmet. After entering the pin, it will display. After entering the pin, it will display scan or emergency option as we seen in the earlier slide. Then we have to select the emergency option. Then it will display the customer care number and ask to enter the PIN provided by them. We need to contact the number and say our registered mobile number, which is associated with the respective scanner. Then you have to say valid reason for your loss or emergency. Later, getting approval from them, they will provide you a PIN and you have to enter it. Then the scanner will reset and turns off automatically. You need to make it on by approaching the nearest technical support service of our product's website. Still any questions?
No, I heard you last time you spoke about this idea because I think it is really nice idea, and I wish you all the best. But I also want to make a suggestion. I think there would obviously quite many ideas that would come. You would want to look at. I'm sure you must have looking into securing your intellectual property, some kind of patents or something, which obviously requires you not to disclose a lot of the intricate details to the public. Basically, yeah, exactly. So that's probably one thing rather than
Questions?
Will the scanner monitor while riding the bike? Or
No. At the initial stage, when we enter our security PIN, when it unlocks, it scans our ID now. So at that time, after scanning that, the helmet will be automatically locked to the rider's head. So when we remove that, the valve will be closed again. Like for scooters and all, we will have an anti-lock system. Like we should turn it on and turn it off the key valve. So here we will insist that a system which would automatically works by the rider's helmet connection. So when the helmet connection got distracted, the valve will be closed automatically. So it will not allow the rider to keep his key inside the uh, camera. Sorry, the vehicle's key valve.
So open for any questions and suggestions.
you talked about a lot of ideas in securing two-wheeler riders, but solutions I feel like it's more complicating the entire process. Like need to scan, then enter in a PIN code, and then if he forgets that PIN code, he has to visit nearest swatcher center and all. The entire process is becoming very complicated. Say I need to take my vehicle and visit the nearest shopping mall. It's just 50 meters away from. For that process, I have to spend a lot of time in starting my bike. That is something that we need to think more about. Easy solution, bringing that.
Okay, sir. Can I ask you a question that you have an Android phone nowadays? You have to unlock that screen.
Yes.
And also, if you want to open your personalized gallery, you should have to enter the PIN again.
Right.
Then, how could a rider would risk his life? So, eventually, you told that's a thing of time, but I think it would not be thing of time to rescue our lives. Even the shortest distance doesn't mean that any accident doesn't happen. Even if 50 meters can also have an accident.
Right, but the other alternative.
Sir, actually, facial recognition, actually, in the beginning stage, I thought it would happen because of the facial recognition. But actually, when I told my idea in the last week, one of the man told me that that facial recognition would be an hesitating thing if the vehicle must be used by some other people as well. So I thought rather than a facial recognition, it would be better, more better than would be like a chip recognition. Like even if a person is using an Android phone, even if he passed away, even other person knows the pin, he can unlock that mobile and he can use that. So in the same way, if the person is not available and also he want to use the bike like a family member, we use two or three people as well. So like that we can use multiple people. So I don't think that facial recognition could be more effective.
Why can't you use that NFCs or RFIs
Sorry.
like near field communications and radio frequency identification? If you put in that technology, might be extension of his answer. I mean, it might be reduce the time to interact with the device.
I actually this is a basic level plan. I would be
I'm telling you to implement in the future. It might be reduce the time to interact with the device.
Okay.
Like you told that the helmet will be locked to the rider side, but if unfortunately the rider would met with an accident or something, who could open that on the road or something? Working on that, or I have any solution for that?
Yeah, still, but if it happens any emergency, it would also like even if the engine is put off for the 5 minutes, it will automatically like give an alert to the station like we are putting the scanner. So that was really helpful when the person is met with an accident. Still helpful. Yeah, if the device inside the helmet is damaged, he should approach the technical support service to reset the damaged item. Like same with the mobile phone or any electronic gadget, we had an replacement. So we'll also have tried to replace that damage.
Are you giving any alerts for that? If it fails, are you giving any alerts?
Yeah, alerts in the sense. Actually, I had not studied as well. Just I was designed. I need to study it as I'm still educated.
It's a very complex process. Is it for make it simple for everyone?
Yeah, I would later study about it. Sorry, as I'm still studying, I could not work on that.
Now, I would like to ask you to scan this and register yourself, because as we are in the early steps of the startup Saturdays in Visakhapatnam, we were the first beginners here. So when we register it, the circle will grow up and we'll be one of the leading events. Like we'll be also talking about like Bangalore startups. We'll be talking about startup Saturdays in Visakhapatnam. So please scan it and do register yourselves. Everybody, please. I'm not seeing many of your phones are open. If you're registered, thank you. But if not yet, please.
If you're registered, please mark your attendance for the day. So we may have some proof you come here and spend your time on.
But you people will get the next updates from us. And now it's time for the open mic session. So anybody have any ideas or any suggestions, you can please feel free to explain.
Good evening, everyone. I am Naren Nerla from Craft Technology. This is my team, and we are working on a project related to aquaculture. We are working on a project related to aquaculture. As we generally discuss that in aquaculture we will get heavy losses. We go into aquaculture, there is so much of loss. So main reasons for aquaculture losses in aquaculture is because of damage which will happen to the fishes or shrimps which they are affected. So, what is the main reason for this damage? pH values and viruses will affect so much on these creatures. So, if we can regulate the pH value so that they won't get affected because of virus, it will be so easy. So we have studied on that, and if the main pH is 6, if the pH goes below 6, the streams will get affected by virus. So we will regulate the system. We will create a system which regulates the pH of water, and it maintains in above 6. And we will use some chemicals. Biodegradable chemicals and which don't affect fishes or nature. And these chemicals, if we there is some sort of dolomite, this dolomite increases the pH of water, and night aluminium. This is one solution created using aluminium, and this will decrease the pH of water. So it will maintain in such a way that the pH of water will not get changed. And there is already some companies which are working on this, but the point which makes us difference from them is they are creating an entire same pH value for world. But actually, natural values of pH of natural water differs on daytime. So it will be some sort of 7 to 8 in early mornings and evenings, and at afternoon it will go to 9 to 10. So if the devices which are currently in use will change, maintain same pH value throughout the day, but this will create an artificial nature in water. This is not the natural. This is not the natural pH values of water. It should be it should be differing so that the fishes will grow naturally. So we are trying to create. We have an idea. The pH values will sense the pH of entire water. This will be scattered around the fish tank, and this feed is given to an IoT device which will regulates, which will monitors the pH values. And if there is any changes in pH, this will automatically eject some capsules. These chemicals are injected using capsule. So in low amount of capsules, it will slowly inject so that the pH will not vary instantaneously. Sudden peak will not come, so that it will not affect. That is our idea.
Anybody have
Any suggestions? Any suggestions? Thank you. Sir, actually, we are just we have some parameters like we can use UV also to regulate this to decrease. But if we use UVs and heat, we use the parameters, the fishes will get affected. So ammonium levels, those all. We are just working on that. We have gotten conclusion through pH. We can reduce some sort of damage caused by virus using pH. So we are just still in research.
I appreciate your participation in today's fantastic meeting. Your input would be appreciated as we work to improve the meetings better. And now I thank Mr. Sandeep from Swiggy who is here, and we hope that we'll hear from you in our next meeting. A few announcements, and our next Startup Saturday meeting will be on December 17th. We'll soon pass the information about what's the topic of the meeting and all. And if you haven't already, please scan this QR code and register. And if you are not a member of our WhatsApp group, please contact me or our volunteer so that you'll be added in our WhatsApp group and you'll get the regular information. Thank you. Happy weekend. Just a minute.
there are many requests for me. Like I want to pitch my idea and I want to showcase my idea in this form. So we are having an ideathon. We are not yet decided with the dates, right? But we are coming up with an ideathon. It will be seasons of ideathon. So we'll also update on that. If anybody interested, can contact me or someone so that we'll update with you with every ideathon and every event coming up. Thank you.
Just two quick points. One, when if you are coming and pitching over here or sharing your ideas, seem to be coming here with a very closed mind. You don't want to hear the question that the person is asking you. So you're answering another question. One. Or two, you're, you're defending yourself in an indefensible manner. People trying to give you ideas are stopping us giving right. Right? So this way, the audience members are very supportive of everybody who came and pitched gave ideas, but that was not reciprocated by the giving their idea. So just be aware that there is some sharing some thoughts. The second, just in addition to what Danish mentioned a minute ago, the ideathon that we will be having is going to be on the 11th of February. Going to be on the 11th of February. We're going to create a form out to all of you. There will be a few people who will judge those ideas and try to consolidate them into those which are worthy of sharing on the 11th. And we haven't completely organized the program yet, but we want to make it at least a half day, maybe even a whole day, depending on the number of good ideas that we get. And the competition will end with prizes. These are willing to fund you because we have investors that funding and so on, and of course, tech supporters and tech facilitators. So, February 11th. And the second thing, we had a hackathon last weekend. Some of you might have known about it, heard about it. We are going to have the next hackathon the last week of January, months from now, the 28th and 29th of January, Saturday and Sunday. We've got some, so I need a quick show of hands. How many of you feel that that's a very bad idea because 26th of January is days before this? A lot of people will take a long weekend, won't participate. Very inconvenient day, good to some other time. Anybody who already has made plans that far ahead says you're not going to attend. Other than those rest. Okay, so then 90% with 90% certain we will have the next hackathon on the 7th, maybe 8th. Then, I know we'll still ask them a question, but some of them might answer. Yeah, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
Anybody have any feedbacks for the startup Saturdays?